Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy, Jason Logan. How are you guys doing today? Welcome back to the second edition of Life's a Drag with Jason Logan and Jason Galvin. There's that. Look, by the way, Jason Galvin got graphics. What? Jason Galvin, hold on. Get in here. Jason Galvin, we got graphics. Look at you go, dude.
What? Look at that. Wow. Boom.
That.
Oh, you're just going to roll through them?
Yeah. Look, I put the logo up there at the top. I can take it in and out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, man. Good job, Jason Galvin.
Wow.
You had a busy week.
Well, you're honest, I put that in last week, dude. You know, I tried to rush it for the first show and it just didn't work.
Right. I get it. So, have you fully recovered from Pomona yet?
Yes, finally. Have you?
No. All I've done today is prepare for this show and watch the Masters. And yesterday, I did absolutely nothing yesterday too. Because I didn't get home until Tuesday, Jason Galvin.
Yeah, I didn't get home till Tuesday either, actually.
What were you doing?
Actually, my wife came to Pomona, right? Home track.
Okay.
And she really wanted to come to Disneyland, which is where you went. I'm sure we'll get to that here. Yeah, but it didn't quite work out. And so instead we went and walked around, I don't remember what it was called, the Armistice or something. I don't know. Some outdoor area in Glendale I'd never been to. Really cool, though. Went to our favorite dim sum place, which we could also go to in Vegas because it's inside of our area there if we wanted to go. And then on a whim, went to Dodger Stadium and watched the Dodgers beat up on the Colorado Rockies.
Was that on Monday?
Yeah, Monday night. Yeah, it was the coldest. Dude, I've been going to Dodger games since I was born. It was the coldest game I've ever been to in my life at that stadium. We were not prepared. I didn't have a jacket, a sweatshirt.
Did you buy a jacket?
Oh, dude. All right.
For $400.
Listen. So how much did you say?
400.
Dude,
would that have come off the sale rack?
Dude, for any of our fans out there who are ever like, wow, this stuff's really expensive, like the Micro Mall or their favorite team's trailer or whatever. Go to a Dodger game on a cold night. I was floored. Not even name brand, like off-brand, like quarter zips, right? Quarter zips, $250. I go on Fanatec's website, the same one's there for $89.95. Dude, shouldn't that be? Isn't there laws against that? Like, of all the things on planet Earth that people are, flipping out over, regardless of where you're at and whatever spectrum, like, can't we all just universally agree that you should not be able to triple mark up something? Like, I understand supply and demand, but you're the Los Angeles Dodgers, okay? Yeah. It's not like you have one can of corn left and you're on a stranded desert island and you're trying to mark that up to make the money on it, right? The flipping Dodgers.
Right. Yeah, but that's what they do. Yeah. So that's kind of cool because I was when I was in the midst of Disneyland. So my flight, I didn't realize was usually I'll leave on Sunday night on red eyes, but I left on Monday night on a red eye, and I'm like, what? What am I going to do all day in LA? Because I got to check out of my flight or out of my hotel at 11. I was like, you know what? I'll go to Disneyland. This will be the coolest thing ever. And I live in Orlando, so I'm at Disney World. I mean, Disney World.
Like you spent a lot of time there.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I've been to Disneyland once before. And I was like, and it was at night. I'm like, oh, this will be cool. Let's go during the day and see what goes on. And I really wanted to ride the Matterhorn the last time I was there, and it was down. So I was like, I'm riding the Matterhorn. And if I do anything else, great. Yeah, this is what went on, what I walked into at Disneyland. Look at that. That was it. Let's call it like 1:00 in the afternoon. And this is over by Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay.
Yep. So you're on the bridge right there, right?
Yeah. All of that is queued up. And we were walking all the way to those umbrellas and then walking back up. It was so
that's the Pirates queue. Oh, it is. I see the two ropes now. Yeah. My wife and I have had on more than one occasion had Disneyland season passes, but I don't know if I've ever seen the Pirates queue that long. That was another thing her and I talked about. Like Sunday night, we got a little loose after the race, home race, party time, fun. We had some friends there, obviously a lot of friends there, and went to a nice dinner with our family. And we were talking about it before we went to bed. And my wife was like, I think this is the start of spring break. And I went, it's not a good time to go to Disneyland.
Oh my God. Jason Galvin, it was so unbelievably busy. Like every ride, all the big rides were like 75, 90. I wanted to ride Indiana Jones.
Right.
No, that was
That's okay. You didn't miss anything.
Yeah, it was
that.
a non-starter.
Yeah.
I got in line. I'm like, I got a Dole Whip because I was like, I'm kind of hungry.
Sure.
I was like, no, we're done. I'm out of this line.
The Dole Whip was probably like 45 minutes.
Dude, it was literally 25 minutes to get a Dole Whip. I'm like, really?
Can't believe it. I believe it for sure.
Yeah,
I just hope Cedar Point's not like that when we go to Norwalk, because you've gotten so hyped up for,
it's
Cedar
not.
Point.
Okay. Yeah, Jim Galvin will, not Jim Galvin, Jim Campbell, excuse me, Jim Galvin. Jim Campbell will be there riding every ride, high-fiving everybody. What's up? Yeah. But that was, that day in Pomona. So, and then the worst part, Jason Galvin, we flew out of Ontario. And I was like, okay, I get to the airport at 6:30. I'm like, oh, national championship game will be going on. Okay, cool. I'll just go sit at the bar and watch the national championship game. Guess what time? My flight was at 10:30. Guess what time the bar closed? 8:30.
Yeah, welcome to Ontario. No Admirals Club in Ontario?
No, they have an Aspire Club, but that closed at 5.
I got no idea what that is. What's an Aspire Club?
It's another thing, another one of those things. But there was announcements. We are proud at Ontario Airport to have our Aspire Clubs open. Like, well, great.
That's why I don't fly in and out of Ontario. Yeah, very simple.
Listen, flying out LAX is a total nightmare, but I had all day to get to LA to deal with that. But Ontario's fine.
I fly in and out of LAX every race now, and it's not as bad when you do it often, I think. Like when you get to learn it. I mean, I would prefer to fly in and out of Burbank, but outside of Vegas and Sonoma, that's just not possible. So.
Right. Well, that's what happens. That was that. How do you think Pomona went? Let's give a quick race recap, Jason Galvin.
Dude, Pomona was lit, in my opinion. Like, I got into some scuffles with some people on the internet over the weekend, I think. That's scuffles. The bosses are going to be like, oh, he's in scuffles. No, but like, people need to like be realistic, right? Like, that crowd on Saturday was so much better than I remember Saturday at the Winter Nationals being in a while. And same with Sunday for that matter. Like, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm forgetting. But somebody feel free to, post pictures and prove us wrong on that. But I thought the crowds were really strong. COVID, obviously, Southern California, specifically California, was not good for the pandemic and live events and everything. Coming back from that, people need to take into account like opening weekend for the aforementioned Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay. I don't know if you've heard, but like a few people go to those games, like 55,000 to literally every game. I mean, they're the number one sport team in America for a reason. WrestleMania was in town on top of. So the Dodgers managed, think about Saturday and Sunday. The Dodgers managed to sell out 2 games. Uh-oh, did we lose me? Oh, no. The Dodgers managed to sell out 2 games while WrestleMania had 100,000 plus people there each night. And we still had, in my opinion, pretty full grandstand Saturday, Sunday. Like, would I prefer to look like Gainesville? Sure. But the people on the internet, like, oh, they're going to sell out here. Oh, they closed the other grandstand. Oh, this or that. Like, newsflash, folks. Okay, this is where I got really upset. One person. I'm going to get on a horse. One person. They should just close down the track and stop racing in California. This is pathetic. I have a gentle newsflash for that person. If we're going to close racetracks and stop racing in markets based on the crowd that was at Pomona Saturday and Sunday, we're going to race at 5 tracks the entire season.
Right.
Sorry.
You can't please everybody, Jason.
I know. The Phoenix crowd, like Pomona would have sold out Phoenix. Like, people may not want to believe that, but Pomona would have sold out Phoenix.
You would have had to turn
people away.
Yeah, you had to turn people. Yeah, exactly.
My wife on Sunday said she waited in the longest line she's ever, or Saturday, waited in the longest line she's ever waited in to get into that racetrack. We've been together for 13 years. She's come to every single Pomona with me for 13 years, whether I've been there as a fan, racing, or working. She's never had to wait in a line like that. And my wife does not get into the politics. It is.
They hold a lot of people. That's what happens.
Anyways,
well, hey, speaking of not pleasing everybody, Jason. So we all know that Alan Reinhardt has an announcer at NHRA.com. And what is that thing? Not Jason Galvin.
It's not the complaint department.
Exactly, it's not the complaint department.
It's not the tech department.
This week, it was used as the complaint department.
Oh, really?
Yes, I got it. It was more about me. Alan was just the conduit of the complaint.
Okay.
I'm going
And
to
the
read you
complaint
this
was?
complaint, Jason, and
Oh,
I'm going to
boy.
read the complaint.
We're reading complaints. Okay.
This is the thing that Evan, our boss, hates when, like, please don't show Jason any of this stuff because he will respond to emails.
Okay.
And I responded to this person. But I'm going to explain to you because this note was given to me by you during pre-race. And you're going to hear you'll hear what it is.
So I'm part of this.
Well, you said it before this person said it.
Oh,
and we made the note. So here we go. This was sent on Sunday, April 2nd at 12:06 p.m. Hi, Alan. I know you're not the complaint department, but I don't have J-Lo's email address, so I hope you have time to pass this along. When the color guard is Army and the new military members being sworn in are Army, playing the theme for Top Gun is grossly inappropriate. Top Gun is Navy.
yes.
To a civilian, maybe it's nothing. But to the Army and Navy, the veterans everywhere, it definitely is something. Hey, J-Lo, let's try not to insult the people we are trying to honor, shall we? Please try again. I know you can do better. Thank you. And she puts her name, and she goes, and thank you bunches, Alan, for being a messenger. You're the best.
Thank you to the nameless one. Because in fairness, 2 weekends in a row, I have given J-Lo a wrath of dog poop.
Well,
on
here's
the
the
radio
thing.
over it. Yes.
In Phoenix, the color guard was the native tribe thing. So I got away with it there.
Right.
Okay. But as soon as I played it again, and I'm like, I even asked on the radio, hey, who's doing the color guard? What branches? No one told me. I went right in. So
I didn't hear it.
yeah, but you immediately come in and I go, I know. But a lot of times this stuff it's on the fly. It sometimes
Sure.
like in pre-race, you kind of you threw something at me and I'm like going, okay, we're not doing that yet. But it was like, okay, but you know what's going on backstage, and I don't know. So if somebody's not there, I just follow along with you. So I get it. To the named person on my phone who sent Alan, the change will be made. I downloaded immediately that day the Air Force theme song. I also downloaded. I can't play it out loud, but let me ask you this. By the way, the lighting. I have my windows open in my thing.
I was like, "What? Yeah, that's cool."
Yeah, I got.
But so the good news is you have the Air Force theme now. So also,
I have the Air Force theme.
When we do the Air Force re-upments, whatever the exact word, when they swear in or reconfirm for the next 4 years or 6 years. Now
I have that up the way into the wild blue yonder.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I have that.
Yeah. Did you download the Marine song too? Like,
Battle Hymn of the Republic. That's it.
Yeah.
Also Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli.
Yes, exactly. Okay,
we will fight our.
I got no idea. What are you gonna play for? What are you gonna play for the Army?
You want to know what I'm gonna play? That's what I'm telling you. I'm gonna play the theme from Stripes.
Perfect. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. Dun. So that's what I'm gonna play.
I made the Hot Shots joke about the Air Force on the radio. I said you should play the theme from Hot Shots.
But Evan's like, what is that movie?
Like, what's Hot Shots?
I know, right? Yes, Selena. Selena's re-enlisting, by the way. Look at this. Look, what else we can do? We can just show what Selena says.
Oh, re-enlisting. Yes, thank you. Oh, wow. Hey, live viewers. Imagine that. I forgot
we have live viewers
for a second. Yeah,
excited.
Forgot about that. Hey, what was the best thing you ate last weekend?
The best thing I ate? You want to know?
Best
Hold on,
thing.
please. I'm going to show. I'm going to show you from the restaurant. This is the best thing I ate.
Oh, yes.
We went there.
Yes.
Clearman's Northwoods Inn. You and I had a
meal.
big old steak, and
we couldn't finish either of us. We should have shared it, honestly.
And a baked potato the size of our head.
Yeah.
And then Joe Costello got the blackberry sundae. Oh my God, that was so good.
Yeah, you guys literally pressured me into taking a bite of that. I was proud of myself though. I only took one. Look, for all the temptations that are out there, my Joe and Alan diet at the races, I feel like it's actually going fairly well. So
yeah, you guys are doing good. Me, not so much. I had 3 doubles, and we were good to go.
Yeah. Shout out to In-N-Out though. That place looked great.
It did.
Place was rocking. Like the In-N-Out deal, it just felt right. I dig it a lot. I'm excited.
It was good, and we're looking forward to Vegas. So that's all we got going on there.
Looking forward to Vegas, yeah.
So, Jason, we have our guest in the background. Hold on a second, dude. I got it. Hold on. I'll be right back. Jason, you just talk amongst yourself.
Live podcasting, folks. What is that? I can't wait to ask him what he's doing when he gets back. It's got to be the blinds, but man, did that sound like a
I'm back.
macaw was flying around? And did you let the
that
parrot
even
out or
worse?
what?
That's worse. I just opened the blinds. It's even worse.
Dude,
I got.
Remember last week when you were giving me all the hell about
Right?
how I look?
I know,
Look at
right?
this.
I suck.
Look at it. Now everybody can see just how ugly I am, and you're the one with issues.
I suck. But you know what? Whatever. It'll go down.
Yeah, well,
it'll fade down in a minute. All right. So, anyways, our guest is in the back. His name is Elon Werner. Let's bring him out. He's so good. He's what should we say?
He's
drag
a
racing
public
PR
relations extraordinaire, J-Lo.
Yeah, that's extraordinary. That's a good one to say. I tried to write that and type that, but I couldn't because
didn't work. Starts with an E, E-X-T.
You guys are too kind. You guys are too kind.
Yeah, well, hey,
and
we're trying.
The real question, J-Lo, is when we have Space Force at the track, do you play the Star Wars theme song or the Star Trek theme song?
See, that's a great call, Elon. I don't know. I mean, I think you might have to go Star Trek to go old school, though.
What about the Spaceballs theme song?
Spaceballs will also be acceptable.
Just saying. Yeah,
let's just don't.
I would come over the top, or like something out of Starship Troopers. Like that's what I would do.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Thank you guys for having me on. I feel honored to be.
Wow, look at that! What is that? What is that arrangement in the background there? Is that like Is that you got an arrangement of all sorts of fun things? Is there? Is that an NCAA softball up in the corner? I see.
Yeah, so there's a Final Four basketball up there. There's a couple national championship footballs. There's a little penny that's actually operational. All my Steelers stuff, all my Ron Caps items. There's Jesus playing football right here. All kinds of good stuff,
Jesus,
artwork,
to be clear.
So
Jesus playing football.
Yeah. See.
No, what's the one next to it?
It says Jesus is your coach.
Oh, okay. But the question is on 4th and 1, is he going QB sneak or play fake?
I'm not Catholic, but I just they have all kinds of Jesus playing sports. The best is the one he's playing hockey, and he has blades on the bottom of his sandals.
Nice.
That's kind of cool, actually. What's the one next to Jesus?
That's how I like my Jesus.
Like right here?
Yeah, the like bobblehead deal. What is that?
Oh, that's Archie Griffin.
Archie Griffin. Wow.
Yeah. So I did some stuff.
Ohio State.
I did some stuff with the Heisman Trophy Winners Association. So they did little statues of all the Heisman Trophy winners.
Wow. And I understand that Archie Griffin was very good.
This is actually a Mike Vick chew toy that an entrepreneur made when the whole Mike Vick dog kennel deal came out.
Yeah.
This was online for about 48 hours. And I went ahead and snatched my Mike Vick dog chew toy up.
You should have got 2 of those.
Yeah, well.
I like it. So where do you live, Elon? Are you in Indy?
I live in Mansfield, Texas. So right outside of like Dallas and Fort Worth.
Okay.
So I've always lived in Texas. So even when I worked with Force, just was able to stay in Texas. So I never have to fly all the way across the country.
How did you become a Steelers fan in Texas?
My mom's family, their whole side is all from Western Pennsylvania. So I grew up spending all my summers in Western Pennsylvania. So
how'd you get into drag racing?
So I grew up in Texarkana, Texas, and I had my Sears and Roebuck Pittsburgh Steelers jacket that they used to sell. And I would get beaten up in school mercilessly all through from all the Cowboys fans. But my vindication came every January when we won the Super Bowl.
Fair. End up in drag racing.
I was working for the Dallas Mavericks as an intern in the early 90s. And a salesperson at the Mavericks met a salesperson from the Motorplex and just mentioned they were just talking. And the Motorplex salesperson, I don't know if you guys remember Bill Ancona, top alcohol dragster guy, had a little taste of Top Fuel Racing in the 90s. Mentioned that the Motorplex was looking for a PR guy. I had never been to a drag race in person. Had vague memories, like every kid, of ABC Wild World of Sports, Snake, Mongoose, Big Daddy, Shirley, Connie. Interviewed with Billy Meyer. Had no idea he was a former racer. Thought every drag racing track looked like the Motorplex. and this was like in 92, 93. And Billy was like, well, I've been hiring drag racing guys trying to teach them PR. I'll hire a PR guy and teach them drag racing. And that's exactly what he did. The first drag race I saw was Mile High Nationals in 93. And I've been, I worked the Motorplex for about 10 years, but I had no practical drag racing experience before I started working the Motorplex.
Dude, that's exactly me, because I was 1995. That was my first race doing sports badging team, which being a Mavericks guy, did they have the sports entertainment team there when you guys were?
Not at that point. They didn't even have dancers. Mr. Carter owned the team. It was just a straight up NBA team, and we were terrible. We were also, the time I was there, we won 11 games once that season, and then we hired Quinn Buckner to turn the program around, and we won 13 games the next season.
There it is.
Well, he improved.
Brooks was there, Brooks and Jim Jackson, Jamal Mashburn, Jason Kidd, the 3Js.
From 11 to 13, as Alan Reinhart would say, is directionally correct.
It is directionally correct,
right?
But it was spectacular. We were so bad.
that's bad.
So many games. We had guys. Let me just list off some of the guys that we ran through there. Guys like Dexter Cambridge, Darren Morningstar, Tracy McGrady. Darren Morningstar. In one game, he's posting up against Patrick Ewing, and he's just getting creamed, and he's just bodying into Ewing, and Ewing basically pushed him into the baseline fans, and a fan poured his beer spilled on top of him, and he goes running up the court, and he's sucking the beer out of his jersey as he's going back up the court.
That's
that
awesome.
was a catch. We brought a guy over.
This guy, which way? That guy right there. That guy right there. That's why his college soccer career came to an early end right there.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, hold on. Oh, wait. No, I don't have it on here. Never mind.
Yeah, my college basketball career came to an end in a tragic local fraternity beach football incident. So that's what actually got me into sports information, which got me into Mavericks PR, which got me into drag racing.
Yeah. You know how my college baseball career came to an end?
Wow.
It never started.
Oh, no.
There you go.
Yeah, it was great.
Bad.
Turns out I could never get kicked off of a team if I was never on one.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So, Elon, being just talking about basketball, 90s basketball, how much better was 90s basketball than basketball today?
So much better. Just so much better. When you watch the clips of the bad boys from Detroit and Charles Oakley at the Knicks.
Yes.
And the Celtics and the Bulls and the Lakers. I mean, it just was so much like right now, if Charles Oakley walked on the court and did one Charles Oakley thing, he'd be lifetime suspension.
Yeah, exactly.
Lifetime suspension.
Yes, exactly.
It's so true. It's so true.
I mean,
it's so true.
I saw.
Trying to imagine Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish playing in the league.
Karl Malone body slammed a guy in a Mavericks game. He was so frustrated by how terrible we were. And they just the refs looked at the guy. The great Earl Strom looked down at him and was like, yeah, we're going to keep playing.
Yeah, he's still breathing. He's fine. So with 90s basketball and all that, but looking at drag racing now from the time you've been in it, I mean, what are some? I mean, there's been a ton of changes. Where is it? Where do you see it from when you first started to now? What's the biggest change that you've seen?
Well, it's not the John Force show anymore.
Right.
It's not the Tony Schumacher show. The fact that we have high quality parity is probably the biggest change, and that's really probably happened just in the last 10 seasons. I mean, you look at now. I'm trying to think of where I heard someone was talking about the 14-car field, that while it was sad that we didn't have a full field, you literally had 14 cars in Top Fuel that any one of them could have won the race.
Right. I mean, look at Terry Haddock this weekend.
Right, and that's what you're seeing in
great example.
Funny Car. I mean, you look at Funny Car right now. Terry Haddock's going rounds. Chad Green's going rounds. Trust me, Bobby Bodie will start going rounds. Everybody, the caliber of teams now, I think, has never been higher across the board. in all 4 professional categories. And I think that was when I started, there were 3 or 4 cars that you knew were going to go to the semifinals every race. You could just write it down.
Right.
And now you're not guaranteed to see Robert Height or Ron Capps or J.R. Todd in the semifinals, and those are all quality cars. And Pro Stock is even more ridiculous. And we'll see what the bikes bring to the table. They've only had one event, and unfortunately, I feel like the bikes. I feel like they run on almost an Olympics type schedule. They run once every 4 years. It seems like.
We got a pretty good streak. We got a pretty good streak coming up here for them.
Yeah, we do, and that's the thing. So I think the '90s was all about a handful of drivers. Now you're seeing easily 10 drivers could be quality, could be in the winner's circle. So J-Lo just went from being prison bar J-Lo to now just full sun. He's just taking one for the team.
Right?
I'm just taking it. Let's do it.
And his transition lens are going to go full Snoop Dogg on him any second now. They're just going to go just
Hey, speaking of that, what's going on?
Wait until I get the green screen set up and I can put a fancy background like him.
What's going on? What's
going on with this Bud Light thing? Do you guys know about this?
Let's not. Yeah, no, move on.
I was like, what are we talking about? I don't even know what we're talking about.
It's crappy beer, no matter whatever the label says on it.
Does not matter who's on it.
Don't get bogged down in the details that it's just crap.
What are we doing?
Thank you. Thank you.
Regardless.
Thank you.
J-Lo trying to draw
about By the way, J-Lo, who can put down a 6-pack of Bud Light like you and I put down a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying. I mean, I'm not some kind of beer connoisseur. I'll go into a place that has 9,000 things on tap or craft beer this and be like, yeah, I'll have a Miller Lite, please.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
No, just try this. And I was like, no, I'll drink my water plus, and you guys can just shut the F up.
I worked for Budweiser I used to work for Budweiser, and they brainwash you. They no, you drink Budweiser.
Oh, is that what it is? They brainwash you?
I didn't. When it was the official beer at the Motorplex, I drank Budweiser all the time.
Of course.
I like Bud Heavy. I like Bud Heavy. I just don't like Bud Light. Bud Light's awful.
And I went into Brickers one night with the great Dave Dinsmore, and I was all, I'm going to go to Budweiser because they're a sponsor. And the waitress at Brickers is like, well, we have Coors Light on special. I'll take a Coors Light.
Right.
My loyalty only extends as far as my wallet does. So,
dude,
Elon, which racetrack has the best food in the press box? We need J-Lo and I are tired of eating the employee food, so we need to figure out which press box to start rating.
Yep.
Well, they're all kind of crappy because no one does. They all do box lunches. So, I mean, and we're really snack deficient too. That's been since Anthony Vestal left the NHRA. The snack situation has just.
That's not true. You've never been to Nikki Shealy's desk.
Well, Nikki has her. I mean, I need snacks that are more grown-up snacks, not the snacks of an 8-year-old.
But Nikki's snacks are the best. They remind me of when I was like,
not. They're all
8,
like tart worms and sugar.
What's wrong with that?
Listen, I live off those.
Give me a variety pack of chocolates and
you want a box of C's.
Yeah, I mean, I got to have some variety.
Yeah.
So, but I will say, as far as like Norwalk used to bring ice cream into the press room. That was great. They didn't do it last year, and I did everything I could to burn that place to the ground to shame Bill Bader.
That was the biggest travesty of the entire season.
I believe
I wasn't there, but I remember reading about it. I read more about the lack of ice cream in the press box than I did about race cars in Norwalk.
Yeah, it was a travesty.
Hey, the Bandemiers brought little blizzards out for everybody last year in Denver, and when it was 112 degrees, that was great.
Yeah. So Norwalk has their ice cream. Bristol, it's pretty solid. They have their own ice cream. It's some kind of deal, but I will say probably best press room food is ZMAX. Jonathan Coleman has really good food, and then he also will throw some beer out on Sunday nights. And that's probably the saddest thing with the exodus of Budweiser from our sport is that there's no longer beer in the press room. And
that's a good call.
I'm not advocating, for tons of beer, but, kind of like, Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption, nothing like being like on your roof, just enjoying with your mates, enjoying a nice cold, beer.
Sunday night in St. Louis, Curtis
Yes.
and Chris usually have that party. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
up on the roof.
so
They
it's
bust
just
up
it's real
pizzas.
hit or miss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the press room is not nearly as glamorous as people make it out to be. It's very cramped, very, it's fluctuated at Phoenix too. For a while, we've been on the second floor. 1 year, we were on the first floor, driver left, right by the starting line. And the only thing between you and the starting line was like 20 feet in a sliding glass door. That was a rough one. I mean, you basically were working with your earbuds and headphones on. Now we're up on the third floor, but it's one of the best views. That's the other thing is the view. There's no perfect setup because even as great as Charlotte is for food and as great as their tower is, they have that screen over the front of it so it says ZMAX, and it makes it impossible to read the scoreboards.
You want to come announce with us at ZMAX?
No.
Because not only do we have that screen, but we're in the race control, which is on the far left of the building.
Right.
So, like during 4-wide racing this weekend, Alan specifically can't see the two right lanes at all. Like on the 4 lanes of race cars, and Alan can see 2 of them. So
2 of them. I mean, you can see half
Alan is as talked about moving. Why can't we just go up on top of the roof? Let's do that.
Right.
He's trying to get those guys to move him someplace else so he can see everything.
Yeah, I totally get it because and we're such babies about it too. I feel bad for the NHRA PR people because people come to them screaming about the internet not working. Or
do you feel bad?
What's that?
Do you feel bad? Do you really?
A little bit. I mean, because it's not their fault. Well, it's people above their pay scale. The NHRA, like when I was the Motorplex, and this will date me, we would get a directive from the NHRA that said in the press room we had to have 20 dedicated phone lines. 10 of them had to be metro lines, and you had to have 2 fax lines. That was like you had to have that for the media.
Right.
And if you did it, you were going to get a ration of crap for it. Well, now there's no minimums. It's like the NHRA has to come in and a lot of times just sort stuff out because the track doesn't have permanent internet. Or so then they have to come in and set up their internet. And it's sometimes, depending on people travel and this, that, and the other, sometimes the TVs get hooked up by Friday morning. Sometimes it's Friday at the end of the day. It's all these little variances because all the tracks are different. There's no consistency from track to track. So you just have to just be like, you know what? F it. I'm just happy I'm getting paid to come watch drag racing. And the people are cool. And there's free Diet Coke for the most part. So I just try to not get too wrapped up.
When does the Werner Communications Starlink go live? Because Camry Caruso has just been like harping you for that.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if it's going to go live on its own, but there may be a little side hustle where I get some access for some people. Because as I'm finding out, a lot of people have had Starlink on the down low.
Yes.
And when I talk to people about, oh, what's this? And they're like, oh, yeah, we've had it for years. Oh, yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Interesting. So I think that it's going to be on the horizon here shortly. I'm honestly trying to figure out I think I need Starlink Roam, which is essentially the RV program. And I can't really understand in true Elon Musk fashion, because I think he's also the money behind it.
He is
that how much it costs isn't really clear. It's like, hey, there's this setup fee, but then it's this, and there might be some other charges, and then you could do this, but and I'm not sure how everyone seems to like it and seems to be working everywhere, but Werner Communications is busy throwing its money away on some other projects before we can throw it away on.
Excellent. It's like the second most famous Elon in the world, anyways.
In the what?
In the world.
You're the second most famous.
Second most famous, right?
I was the most famous for a while, and now, but at least people recognize my name now, but they still mispronounce because I'm Elon,
right?
And he's Elon. I still answer to Elon. I mean, you walk through the pits, and half the people call me Elon, half the people call me Elon, and I don't correct them. And that's probably on me,
right?
So anyone that's calling me Elon, realizing that my name's actually Elon, don't feel bad. That's not your fault. It's on me.
No, you
'Cause I
can
don't
feel
even
bad.
hear
It's
it.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't even hear it half the
Yeah,
time.
Yeah,
So
you can
let
feel
me
bad.
ask you this, Elon. What does so we know all about social media, people,
Yes.
and I'm assuming social media and PR, public relations, are two totally different things. Kind of, they probably piggyback each other a little
Yeah.
bit. But what does a PR person do because you do more than just like press releases and things like that. You have
Right.
to help your drivers. You kind of prep them and teach them how to talk on microphones in front of reporters and things like that.
At its base level, public relations is writing press releases, reaching out to the media to get coverage of your drivers, radio interviews, TV interviews, podcasts, things like that. So you are promoting your drivers and their sponsors and their initiatives, whether it's like when I was with Coletta, we were doing a lot of stuff with Feeding America or A Kid Again. So you're kind of promoting those initiatives for your drivers and trying to make sure that the announcers are talking about them, TV's talking about them, and where you can, the media's talking about them. So you're essentially promoting your drivers to all the free media, and then also encouraging them to, when there's fan fests or driver autograph sessions or reaching out to the track. So if they've got a nitro club, like Cameron Caruso is going to do autographs on Saturday at Vegas. So being the conduit to find opportunities to promote your drivers.
Gotcha.
In a nutshell.
Yeah. So I mean, I was gonna say, how has it changed from the 90s to today? I mean, again, everybody is we're doing this podcast because we need some more social media followers or whatever. It's different. It's
so much more fragmented now. When I started, it could go into every market, and there was 1 or 2 newspapers, and there were 3 or 4 TV stations, and maybe 1 or 2 radio stations.
Right.
And if you could get, the newspaper coverage, 1 or 2, get a story in the newspaper, get the TV guys to do stuff, you'd have like 100% coverage of anyone interested in sports. Well, now there's still TV stations, there's still newspapers, but they probably got 10% of the staff they had in the 90s. And now there's online radio, there's podcasts, there's local digital e-newsletters and things like that. And you're just now, instead of reaching out to 5 people to get 1 million people, you have to reach out to 30 people to get 500,000 people.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, everybody's got a radio show. Everybody's got a podcast. Everybody's got something going on. And
because of the world we live in, how many people do you know are watching their local news anymore? Personally, I don't. It's insane to say that I work in media and I do not watch the local news. I have apps to tell me what the weather's doing, but I don't watch the local news necessarily.
Oh, I walked in at a good time.
Yeah, right when Jason came back, he's good at this. I'll watch local news every once in a while. And when I tend to watch it, it's during sweeps, and they run those dumb here at News Channel 6, we cover everything. And when they promote themselves, oh my God, it is the absolute worst thing ever. And
I have a bunch of those from when I was on the news. We should sit here and play them one day.
Jason Galvin, you have to.
We should sit here and play them one day.
It's like playing air checks or me and
But
radio.
It's funny. The one segment of local news that does work is morning news.
Yes.
Because one of my other, outside of drag racing, I have a contract with the college football playoffs. So I do work for the college football national championship game every January. Specifically, it's called Playoff Fan Central. It's the fan experience in the convention center. So I handle the media operations for that. So I do like tons of morning TV promoting, hey, come out here and you can kick field goals and all this stuff. And we were in LA this year because the championship game was in SoFi, and I did a ton of KCAL and KTLA morning shows.
Yeah.
And I had people all over town. Hey, I saw you on the news this morning. Hey, I saw you. You were, you're the guy that was on the news. And I was like, it's one of the few times anyone's ever come up to me and said, oh man, I recognize you from TV. But so morning news does work. So
that's what I did. I was the morning news anchor for better part of 3.5 years. And there was a point where we couldn't go to dinner in our town without, felt like I was John Force at a drag race.
It's great.
And I don't necessarily mean that in like a good way. I'm trying to be a news anchor. Like, I'm not trying to be that person. But yeah, no, you're right.
Well, you're on
Morning news is
TV.
still very effective.
Right. But
Yeah, you're on TV and everybody knows you, and they think they're part of your life.
That's also what's the problem with the local news is, like, particularly in Dallas, WFAA, the ABC affiliate, #1 for 10 o'clock news. Their sports coverage is now maybe a minute because they spend nearly 2 minutes of Pete Delkus, who's the weather guy, and at the time, Dale Hansen, who was a sports guy. They would banter back and forth and throw jabs at each other and poke. It was like this whole little rivalry. Do they like each other? Do they not? And I would complain to the sports producers, like, all that banter, it doesn't cut into Pete's weather because it's weather über alles in Dallas. It's cutting into my sports coverage. And he's like, oh, I get it. He goes, we'll have 4 or 5 packages and they'll talk. And then we only get to air 2 or 3 packages.
Right.
But I was like, why is it? They go, because consultants tell them that people that watch like the personalities of Pete and Dale giving each other crap.
Yeah.
So they don't care about, they just want this little show inside the show.
Yeah.
And you don't get sports because they're just BSing about who did speaking engagements and who, gets more hate on Twitter and all this stuff.
There's a great Sports Illustrated article a couple weeks ago called The Death of the Local Sports Anchor.
Yeah.
And it was about Fred Rogan, who NBC LA, 40 years, right? Fred Rogan, the dean of sports in LA, right? Yeah. And he effectively got run out. Everybody's like, oh, Fred's retiring. You're like, yeah, Fred didn't really retire. No. NBC LA, like borderline to the point where it could maybe be a legal issue, basically went to everybody they had on air who had been there for more than 25 years or was over 55 and said, look, your contracts are up. You can either take massive pay cuts,
right?
Like 75% pay cuts to do the same amount of work, or, we'll pay you for 2 more years and you can go away tomorrow. And every one of them was like, give me the settlement and off I go, So, yeah.
That happens in radio too.
I think that was what was great about
I don't know how that came up, but
Hansen was on TV in Dallas for nearly 40 years. And I really think like the last 5 years, he really was making peanuts compared to what he should have been paying, but he enjoyed doing what he was doing and had been smart with his money. And he just liked being such a thorn in management's side that he would just get on there. I mean, I don't know if you ever saw, he would do rants. He was a great guy. He did rants about everything from, LGBTQ topics to guns to, how it all wove it all into sports. But he was just awesome. And then finally he just was like, you know what, I'm over it. I'm going to go retire and just go play poker.
Hey, have we talked about this outlets topic? Because you really
have not talked about
Facebook. Yeah, Elon hit us up earlier when he shared the pre-show. He said among the topics are going to be press room food, which we talked about, music, which we haven't gotten to yet, driver wrangling, which we kind of talked about, rental cars, which I'm curious, and best airports for outlets. Yes. To which my immediate question was: are we talking about outlets to charge your computer or to shop in?
And it's all about outlets to plug your computer into. O'Hare, hands down, the worst airport. There's like maybe 1 or 2 outlets per gate area. And now,
why are you flying into and out of O'Hare?
Well, okay, I don't anymore because outlets are so terrible. But I'll go now. I'll go back because we're back in racing in Joliet.
I'm flying into Midway specifically for that reason.
That's Midway. That's a dump.
Yeah. No, I know, but also.
But yeah. So O'Hare's terrible. Detroit's terrible. It's gotten better. D terminal at Dallas, gold standard. SFO, gold standard.
Elon, the Detroit. Okay. Am I the only one who thinks the Detroit airport's the worst terminal on planet Earth?
Oh no, Atlanta, hands down. That argument begins and ends with Atlanta.
Really? See, I guess I flew into Atlanta for the first time in my life for World Series of Pro Mod to catch a connector to Tampa, and I landed at gate 37 and I was at 38 for my next flight, something like that. So like I literally went out, hung a left, sat at a bar for an hour, and went. So I have zero experience in Atlanta, and then coming back was the same thing. I got out, made a right, got back. Like so, I have so no experience.
You're always connecting through Atlanta. Here's my suggestion. This will cure you of Atlanta. Walk out of security in Atlanta and then try to walk back in. And then what you know to do is you'll be like, No.
Well, unfortunately for us, I'm 2 seasons late to being full time on the announce crew, and I don't have a reason to ever walk out of the security gate at Atlanta.
Elon, don't you? Are you not an Admirals Club member or like?
Yeah, I've got Admirals Club. I'm platinum. I got TSA pre-check.
Yeah,
but it's still.
Oh, you guys fly American. Do you not know that American sucks? Like, have we not?
American is great. All these
awesome.
American haters.
Get out of here.
Okay.
American haters are the ones that don't have status. That's what happens.
I have all the status in the world on Delta. Guess what? Mandy yesterday booked 4 new races for me, and within 20 minutes, I was first class on 4 flights.
Nice.
Because no one wants to fly Delta. That's why, because no one wants to fly Delta.
My flights are always full. Delta's phenomenal.
Yeah. Well,
American's good too.
Yeah. You just get used to what you get used to. I'm going to say, I'll be Atlanta.
That's true.
Ride or die, whatever. And, I make the really morbid joke of whenever I get on an American flight, I look around and just see who else is on the flight. And there's usually, occasionally like Erica or some of the elite guys will be on there, or guys connecting through. Alexis is sometimes on a flight. And then I just go, yeah, okay. When I see a bold-faced name, I go, yeah, I'm just going to be and others when this plane goes down.
Yeah.
Alexis DeJoria.
You know what's great about that is
I've perished in a plane crash.
I've never had to think about that with Delta because Delta's planes don't crash like Americans do. So,
well, that's fair. That's fair.
Listen, I fly home with all the KB guys coming through Charlotte.
Yep.
Because I'll usually connect through Charlotte. And one time I got bumped to first class, and the row in front of me was Cody Anderson. Well, it was a red eye, and I had been drinking at the bar, and I passed out. The next when we land, we stand up. Cody's like, "Hey, man, you all right?" And I go, "What do you mean, am I all right?" He goes, "Dude, you were snoring so unbelievably loud." He goes, "Bro," and this is like Cody was like 15. Cody's just like, "Dude, are you okay?"
Try being his roommate at the races.
You looking back when you stop breathing to just see if you're going to start breathing again.
He was like, "Dude, are you all right?"
Elon, I've literally my first real Jason Logan. He knows where I'm going to. First real Jason Logan rooming experience was early in the year. I think it was Vegas last year.
Right.
To the point where we knew all right, J-Lo's back. I'm working most races, so we just told our travel person put the same room when we're there, right? If we're gonna stay with somebody, at least we know we like each other. And we're sitting there. Diners, drive-ins, and dives is on the TV.
Yep.
We're having a conversation about the restaurants that are on because one of them is going to be a Bakersfield restaurant because guy came here and filmed for 2 weeks. There's 12 episodes. And Jason Logan is mid-sentence. And when I mean mid-sentence, I mean he's like, "Hey, Liam, we got this really great spot in Orlando that was on Triple D, and they have this amazing chicken."
When it's time to go to sleep, it's time to go to sleep.
Exactly.
Well, no. But here's the best part. 3 minutes later, I'm like, okay. So I go back to watching the show. I shut the light off. I lay down in my bed. 3 minutes later, shawarma and the tzatziki sauce for it is just amazing, dude. But no tomatoes. Don't get the tomato. I was like, what? Did you just pick up your sentence? Without missing it? I'm like, you missed an entire segment of the TV show, right? We're not even on Mediterranean food anymore. He said a chocolate factory, and he's like, "Oh, okay."
That's awesome."
I pride myself on being a solid room dog. So, for the longest time, I roomed with Denzi for a long time. And then when I was at Forces, I would room with Steve Cole. And for a while, when I was at Coletta's, I would either room with Luke Fath or Bob Lawson or whatever. But there was a stretch when I was at Forces where for whatever reason, I was kind of odd man out, and I would just get the random crew guy for a whole season. And that was a rough season because I had the roommates that would come in at 4:00 in the morning. I'd have the guy that brought his Xbox with him that would hook the Xbox up to the TV and want to play games. I had the guy that committed the cardinal sin of room dogs in my life, which was just coming in and blowing up the hotel room bathroom. Can we all agree that no one should drop the kids off at the pool in your hotel room? That's what the lobby bathroom is for.
Every once in a while, though, you gotta take one for the team. You're like, all right, I can't make it.
Yeah, but that's the middle of the night. That's the middle of the night, and you can kind of leave the fan on, and you just kind of figure, not as soon as you get in the room. to the point that
Yeah.
you're like about to
Yeah.
throw
Yeah.
the desk chair out the window to get some ventilation in your room.
Yeah, that part's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That
So,
part's yeah.
but yeah, you guys, I bet, would be spectacular roommates because you're on the
Jason-
same schedule.
It's a good time.
Yeah. He's not. Jason's good. Jason, I don't even set an alarm because Jason sets like 12 alarms.
Yeah.
But
true.
they're set at like.
It's true.
I think he's hitting the snooze button, but he's not. He's just letting the next alarm go. I'm like, so yeah, no, I know. I'm like, I don't have to. And he gets up before me because I usually, my schedule's a little more flexible than Jason's. So he goes first, and I come in right. I show up 30 minutes later.
Yeah, it works out well. Elon, hey, which of your client? Wait, first off, here, real quick, run through every client that you have this year, right? Like Justin Ashley, Camry, Shane
Josh
Tucker.
Hart, Shane Tucker. Then I'm also working with Buddy Hull because he's only doing a handful of races. I'll probably work with TJ Zizzo. He's going to come back and do a couple races. I handle all the PR for the Factory Stock Showdown class, and that I love those guys. It's my third year doing that, so it's the FlexJet Factory Stock Showdown, and then I do all the PR for the Motorplex. I'm also helping Travis Shoemake out a little bit, and there's some sportsman guys that I'm going to start helping out a little. So I was actually talking to somebody, and they were just asking me to list everybody that I'd worked for, and it was a ridiculous. It's a list that I feel so blessed to have worked with.
Sure.
Worked for would be much longer. All right, all right? Of the drivers that are out there right now, pick the two that could do J-Lo and I's job better than J-Lo and I, which is, I guess, probably
music-wise.
Yeah, probably pretty low bar. But
well, I mean, does it have to? I mean, because I think Ron Tobler could bring a discography to the table that would be strong.
Oh yeah,
Ron Tobler,
that's a good
definitely.
one.
So I would say give me Ron Tobler, and then give me Caps. I think could bring a good repertoire, and then I would also say I think Brittany Force could bring some good tunes to the table.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna have to consult Brittany.
That would be my pick. Now, so that's on the music side. On the announcing side, I mean, I would say I would love to hear, Tony Schumacher on the mic announcing. I think he could bring a lot. I would say, Caps is a 5-tool player. He could do the now because he knows he's driven so much stuff. I've already bought my plane ticket to go and see him race the SRX race, by the way, before it's Pico.
That's cool.
I'm flying from Dallas to Indy that Thursday, going to go over to Eldora for the race on Thursday night, and then drive back to Indy that night, fly from Indy to Kansas City through Dallas, ironically, do the Topeka race, and then come back. So that ticket has been purchased.
That's really cool.
I think that's so cool.
I wish that I would have had that type of forethought, but I booked Topeka 12 hours before Ron announced that.
Yeah.
So. Of course.
Yeah. So
I always thought AB would make a great
he would be good.
One day.
AB would be good, but AB, and this is not a negative, AB just talks too much.
Well, that's the problem with Jack Beckman.
Yeah, and I would never put AB and Jack Beckman in the same bucket, other than they do just talk too much.
Right.
And
which is good. What they say is good, but it's too much.
Force, everyone thinks Force would be so great as an announcer. Force would be terrible.
Oh no,
because he would just talk. No, you don't need.
Well, no, where he would be great from a budgetary standpoint. You wouldn't have to hire anybody else to work with him.
No, not at all.
Right.
You would.
Yeah.
But so those guys. But I don't think Joe Bag of Donuts understands how hard either one of your jobs are.
I think that's
the music
fair.
job, understanding how to pick it up.
That's fair.
Drop in some good stuff, and then the announcing, keeping it relevant, keeping it topical.
Yeah, I mean listen, what Jason Galvin does, Joe Costello tried to get me to do it Supercast and things like that. I'm like, man, I have no idea. Nor does anybody
want to do junior dragsters, and you were out. You're like, nope.
Yeah, I did one pair of junior dragsters. I'm like, yeah, now we're good. That's all well and good. I mean,
Well,
do I think I could do it? Sure. I would have to put time and effort into it, but I'm like, that's not me.
Yeah. And I think where our sport needs to go is find a balance of talking and announcing and just watching. That there's some time where you could just, enjoy the races with some music.
Sure. Like when NASCAR lays out and you just hear the sound of the engines.
Right. Yeah. And we do a pretty good job of that on TV, where they'll have they'll just kind of have the, behind the scenes and in the pits and those kind of things. But I wish we could get to the level where we're not explaining entry-level information during every broadcast. And we're getting better at that. It's not as bad.
Yeah.
But I think it still happens on a Fox broadcast because they're worried that there's going to be some people that are just going to stumble on the show.
But I think there are is the problem with that. Like, I guess I see your point a little bit. Like if we're on Fox Sports 1 at 8 p.m. Pacific on a Sunday, then you're right. It's probably all like diehard NHRA people. Yeah, right. But I think like if you look at like Gainesville when they're coming out of like, NASCAR's up next and whatnot, I think that stuff's honestly really important. I think that I wouldn't want the job that Loans and Tony have to do when it comes to that type of stuff.
Not.
That's way more difficult than people realize.
And I think we're getting better at it. But for the first couple times, it was rough because I felt like, and again, this is an unfair example, but this is kind of how bad I felt it was sometimes. It's like if you watched Monday Night Football and every Monday Night Football broadcast, they were explaining how many downs there were.
First, right. Yeah. Okay. Good point.
He's going to have to go 10 yards to get a first down.
Good point.
And this is, okay, and this is, okay, now, this is why they're lining up, okay, so the quarterback is going to throw to the wide receiver, and that's the guy that's out there that's running without, just you're trying to coach him up a little bit, but you're also kind of let the game come to you a little bit.
These are good points.
I'm so excited where we're going and how our viewership is up and how well the shows are going, and the fact that there's new people doing well, so there's new people being involved in the show. You're getting a lot of Chad Green, you're getting a lot of Kamer, you're getting a lot of, you name it, Terry Haddock.
Terry Haddock got a lot of run last weekend. Yeah, rightfully so. Yeah, so Matt Hartford's had a good couple weeks.
Yeah, it's just the balance of introducing people has been fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the Too Fast, Too Tasty thing. I think that's been fantastic as well.
I did a post on that about LinkedIn. I'm trying to do more on my LinkedIn. I got all these people that I know that are like, oh, you got to build your brand. You got to do all this and be an influencer, not like a social media influencer, but talk about your level of expertise. And so I did a post about how great I thought the Mission Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge was top to bottom, from autograph sessions to hats, medals, trophies at the top end, to money and points, making it relevant for the drivers. All the things they're doing right, that if you want to come into our sport, there's all these opportunities to use these assets. And,
and for just the viewing part of it, just the fact, I mean, and Jason, and we've all been in meetings about this, trying to convey what's going on Saturdays, because we're not qualifying. We're actually racing those races. And I think, on our end, I think we've done a pretty good job of not slamming it down everybody's throat. I think it's like, all right, yeah, we're racing, so get ready. These points are going to be blah, 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 blah. And I think the fact that we've had some people have been in both of them. Some people are going to, we're getting new people. So there's giving more opportunity for people to showcase themselves, like a Matt Hartford and things like that. So yeah, I think that thing has been fantastic. We were all kind of up in the air, like, oh, let's see how this goes. But I think
to me, it does. It's awesome, but I feel bad for the TV guys that are doing the qualifying shows, because now they're having to balance how they make that qualifying show. How much is Too Fast, Too Tasty, and how much of it is qualifying. You catch a break.
We talked to Pete about that last week, and that's a conversation that I think is going to continue to evolve throughout the year.
Because we had a conversation in the press room with some of the NHRA PR people about the formatics of, they had been on Saturday bringing the number one qualifier in, and then the Too Fast, Too Tasty winner. Well, luckily on Top Fuel that's been Doug Coletta and Justin Ashley. So you're only one guy in for two things. But theoretically in Chicago, you could have 4 categories. You could have 4 number 1 qualifiers and 4 different people win Too Fast, Too Tasty. We're not going to bring 8 people into the press room on Saturdays. So they're working out the formatics of that, number 1 qualifier supersedes a little bit Too Fast, Too Tasty. And how are we going to get quotes and promote them and do those things? So those are good problems to have when, you've got multiple personalities doing awesome things.
Yep. I love it.
I agree.
And I can't wait to see as we get closer. Like once we get to the Western Swing, seeing what the total is for championship points. And I think the first time somebody busts through and gets over 10 championship points from Too Fast, Too Tasty, that's when people are going to go, oh, because that is now impacting going into the countdown.
Yep.
Look, an exact inside drag racing, I guess, type of moment here, right? Things that you don't see on the TV show or hear necessarily, but I just tell you, Saturday in Phoenix, when Doug Coletta won the Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge at Top Fuel for the first time, and it looked like they hurt the motor, Chad Head, GM at Coletta Motorsports, understandably so, walked away upset. And, that would have been their second motor of the weekend. I think they ended up hurting it. And so I get all that, right? But he walked away upset about, we won 10 grand, but it cost us 100 grand to win it. Like, and I get it. I'm not discounting the insane amounts of money that we spend in this sport when we hurt parts. But Slugger Labby made the great point to him, the TRD person, turned and looked at him and goes, you win this championship by 1 or 2 points, and you're not going to be worried about the rods that you hung out in Phoenix. And again, that's not to take away that's a lot of money,
right?
And whatnot. But it's a run you would have made anyways. Would you have heard it? Who knows? That's debatable. It's not like Doug pedaled it at 60 feet. Right. It hurt itself way down track, right? It'd be one thing if it was in a pedal fest and the thing grenaded at half track. But you heard it way down track, could have hurt itself anyways. You're going to make that run anyways. But, I've said this a few times this year. Do you think that Robert Height would like to have 4 extra points last year?
But those 3 points for Coletta in 2020 would have won him a championship.
Yep.
Correct. So, there's
so I like it because it gives the PR people, going back to Jason's, it gives me something to talk about.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, I got Cameron Crusoe, she was I love it. It's very tricky to explain, but she was the quickest semifinal loser, but she got a championship point. So she's already got
Selena. The Braves game's about to start, Elon. We got to wrap this up, apparently.
Okay, if Maddox and Glavine aren't on the mound, are the Braves still relevant?
No. Hey, Acuna
I think
Jr.
Spencer Strider's on the Spencer Strider's on the mound today. Spencer Strider might be
just in the hot corner. What are we even doing here?
By the way,
my
team sucks. My team's the worst.
Are you rocking a Sox hat? I thought about putting a Dodger hat on, but I had to reps. I'm always got to get turned around. I had to represent my boys today.
Of course, we like that.
Now that we've got HD stuff going on.
You look good. You look good. Well, Elon, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Dude, you guys are the best. I love this podcast. Anything I can do to, keep it going, help promote it, whatever. Happy to. But you guys are two of my favorites. So thanks very much.
When we start going down the road of needing drivers, that will be wide open, a la Justin Ashley at 10 questions with Jason. You were definitely in. So
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
We'll have you on again later in the year too.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to do it. Love you guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
Elon, everybody. Elon Werner. Check him out. There's his Twitter at the bottom. You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Elon Werner. W-E-R.
Yeah,
I love it. Jason Galvin, this is too.
What do you think? I'm thinking that we've talked about, like, should we do this in off weeks? I'm thinking like next week we should just do like a short one, like race going into race weeks, right?
Yeah.
Let's just hit one up on like a Tuesday and like, hey, here's some of the things we're looking forward to. Like example, because I go into Vegas on Wednesday next week.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going on Thursday, but that's good.
Yeah, I mean, originally I was going Thursday. Originally my wife was coming. We're gonna make a trip out of it and all that stuff. But like, her mom had some health issues and we're taking care of it. So whatever. I'm coming in Wednesday because I'm stuck flying in Wednesday. So it is what it is. I love
it. Yeah, no, we'll definitely
work done. But dude, we got some wicked reservations next week that we need to talk about.
Very excited. Yeah, we definitely need to talk about what we're going to eat.
Yes.
Yeah, this is what Courtney just said. Courtney Enders is out there.
See, from the bar to hotel on Thursday nights. That's actually not a bad idea, Court.
We could, hey, listen, we could make things happen.
I think so.
And me drinking and having fun, yeah. That could get a little. It could get a little crazy.
Job security on the line here.
Yeah. But yeah, that works. Selena, we'll see you in Charlotte. Thank you for you guys. Hey, by the way, thank you guys all for doing this. This is a live broadcast. Last week we recorded because we were out and all on Thursdays. But I like doing them live.
Hey, I've had a few people ask me, is it going to be on not iTunes, Apple Podcast? And the answer to that is yes. We're waiting on. We need one more. If people don't know this, it's like very hard. Not hard, but like you have to have everything perfect before they'll let you put the show live. And one of our graphics that we had made is the wrong size. I kid you not, by 1 pixel, not like 100 pixels. One, so 3,000 by 750, and you're just 3,000 by 749. I was like, seriously.
Oh, Lord.
So, anyways, yes, it will be there by the weekend. Both these shows will be up on the podcast store, I guess, or whatever it is. Apple Podcast, it'll be there.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah. So guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I'm glad you guys all enjoyed the show. If you didn't enjoy it, just suck it. That's all I got to say about that. No,
if you didn't enjoy it, do me a favor. Like, subscribe, leave us a review.
Yes, don't do anything like that at all. But give it up for Jason Galvin for coming up with stuff like that. Look at that.
Woo!
I like it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys all for coming in and enjoy yourselves. We'll be back next week. We'll talk more drag racing. We'll talk more fun than we've had. But I hope you guys all have a great Easter weekend, everybody.
Happy Easter!
Happy Easter. Sophie Easter Bunny brings you something good.